wanted to dedicate a video to this big old ash tree. I probably should have, in the last video that I posted, I probably should have split that up, but because that was such a long video, so I figured we'll give this tree its own video, and I would do this in real time also, so you guys can see about roughly how long it took me to cut this tree down, which was about 10 minutes, somewhere around there. So I cannot tell you exactly, or express to you exactly how unstable this tree was. Seeing it on camera versus in person just doesn't do it. And I could wiggle this tree just by me standing on the bank, probably 6 inches or a foot or something up at the top. And this thing, you can see how big what's left of this tree is, and compared to me, I'm about 160 pounds, and this tree, what's left of it, is just massive. It's probably 3 feet in diameter, measured at the longest point. So I decided not to put a wedge cut in this for fear of weakening this tree even more. I know a couple people said I should have in the comments, but when you take out the wedge cut on a tree that is super weak, you have more of a likelihood that it could fall on you while you're down there cutting that wedge cut. So I really did not want to weaken the tree with me being under it like I would have been, because the camera doesn't do it justice for how this tree was leaning over and towards the creek, pretty much right where I wanted to put the wedge cut, or right where I was going to be standing. And, you know, you're sawing on a tree, you're cutting out a section of the tree on the weak side of it, and you're underneath it. So for this one, it just didn't make sense for me to cut a wedge cut in it, to, you know, take a wedge out of it to, you know, get it to fall and whatnot. So I ended up using 4 wedges, and I really need to buy a bigger axe with a, you know, a hammer end on it. I forget exactly what they're called, so I can pound wedges and stuff a lot easier. It did take some time to cut this tree down, but it was really only something like 10 minutes that it took me. So I tried to cut as much as I could on the bottom to where I felt safe to do it, and then I came up to the top and cut some more and kept pounding in wedges. You know, I did not want to have to fish this thing out of the creek. This log here, it may be somewhat rotten and hollow, and, you know, half of it is gone, but it's still a ginormous piece of wood for what is left, and I just did not want to have to fish this thing out of the creek. The other one, fortunately, this is there were 2 parts of this tree. This is only, actually, to be honest with you, this is probably only a quarter of the tree. The other part of this tree we cleaned up in the previous video. I still have another video to post of us pulling out the logs and stuff with the 8N. But the other half fell on the boat launch here, and the top of this piece, you can see on the right-hand side of the bottom right-hand side of the screen, that is what is remaining of the top half that fell, I don't know, 6 months or 8 months ago, something like that. And I've really got to say, when you see trees like this, it's really best just to cut them down. They are so unstable, and, you know, they could literally let go at any minute. It could take one little breeze, it could take even just one more small rainstorm, and then the tree goes over. Or I mentioned an oak tree in the previous video, and that tree fell over on a sunny day with no wind. So, you know, you just kind of you just kind of have to respect these trees and stay away from them if you're not going to cut them down, because, you know, like I said, they could really fall over at any minute. And I'm not entirely sure if this thing was an ash tree or not. It may be, it looks like it to me, but the bark, I'm not kidding you, in some places is 2 inches thick. There's a log to the left of the screen out of frame, and the bark on it's like triangular, and it is probably 2 inches thick. I'm not kidding. Geez, even pieces of the bark would make good kindling or something. But I'm trying to double stack these wedges now, and that really didn't work. I'd pound in one, and it would push out the other one, and, you know, I'd try to pound in both, and it just didn't really work out good. So I got the saw wedge there for a little bit, and that's because I'm trying to pound these wedges, and I'm trying my hardest to get this tree to fall on the left and not into the creek where it wants to go. And I sort of succeeded doing that. I wish I could have gotten it more to fall on the on land than in the water, but the majority of it is on the boat launch, and I'm pleased with that. It's a lot easier fishing these trees out when they're next to the bank rather than when the whole thing is in the bank and the whole thing is in the creek and you have to fish the whole thing out or go out there with a chainsaw and try to cut it up. I've done that before, and it's not fun, and you're sinking, and it's just if you can avoid going out into the creek to cut logs and stuff up, I'm all for it. So we're just kind of, yeah, watch me push on the tree. See how unsteady it is? Now, granted, I had cut this thing too, so I don't think we got a video of it beforehand of what it was like before, but it wasn't quite that bad, but it was still, I could easily wiggle this thing. So this tree really had to go, and I did not like working underneath this thing when we were cleaning up these other logs. I really wanted to get this thing out of there first. But yeah, it's really, really unsteady. I'm trying to figure out now exactly what to do next. I've cut the top of this thing, and a little bit of the bottom was still holding. So eventually I figured I would have to see, I'm sort of above the tree now, and where I have to go is I have to kind of stand up by the bank right next to the water's edge and do one last cut to try to get this thing to fall over. And just like that, it falls over. So I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I figured I would dedicate a video to cutting down what's left of this tree. So hope everyone enjoyed it. If you would, give me a like, comment, and subscribe for more, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.